Oh man, we're back here, week 2 of the NFL Hour, and I have a special guest with me. I'm not gonna beat around the bush and do a bunch of BS introductions. I got my man Nige B here, man. What's happening?
What's happening, big baby?
Man, nothing much, chilling. Just tell the guests who you are a little bit.
Man, you are a friend of a friend. I met you, I don't know, like what, 6, 8 years ago?
Yeah, like 13, 14,
Yeah,
15.
he had to come down, show TSU, greatest HBCU there is, homecoming some love, you know what I mean?
Live.
And ever since I got the sports knowledge IQ, I was like, oh yeah, he's solid. So been rocking ever since.
Yeah, I think Todd brought us together over Gucci Man.
For sure. Absolutely.
And you dabble in sports journalism. You don't write like you used to.
Like I should be. I'm still the raconteur though, you know what I mean?
Okay, yeah, I go ahead and plug your blog that you haven't written on in 4 months.
www.thewritersblock.center. I'm coming back. Just got some other priorities in place right now, but it's coming back. Rest assured, it's coming back.
Yeah, man, trust me, I get it. Just came off of hiatus because I was working on the priorities that pay my bills.
You know how it goes.
Man, so this week we're gonna recap first round of the playoffs. What was it? The super playoff weekend or some shit like that.
Yeah, super playoff weekend.
Then we're going to talk the Steelers. We're going to talk about some of the coaching carousel stuff that we're seeing here. And then we're going to forecast last week or this coming week's playoff games. So for starters, man, round one, I did all right. Out of 6 games, I got 5 of them right. I didn't get the Steelers-Browns game right. And the only reason that I picked the Steelers was because it's the Browns in the playoffs. So 5-1. If you would have moneyline parlayed what I told you to do each day, you would have at least came away with one successful day on your bets. If you just would have bet them straight up, I mean that's 5 bets to 1 loss, 5 wins to 1 loss. Let's just see how the bracket unfolds. But man, first game, Bills and Colts. The Bills kind of squeak one out 27-24. And I'll tell you something about this game. I felt like you got to see Josh Allen like on display. And I mean, there are times where he made immaculate, great Josh Allen plays that goes, man, he is a top quarterback in the league.
It
And then
definitely gave me some off scripted stuff, and I like that. I like that.
yeah, and then he has the dumbass fumble, and you're like, Josh,
What are you doing?
what are you doing, man? So here's my thing about Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen is what they wanted Tim Tebow to be and what they think Taysom Hill is or can be.
That's a good take. I like that. I like that.
You know, the tough, rugged white boy who can run it a little bit, but is strong quarterback. And not that Tim Tebow has the arm of Josh Allen, not that really anybody but Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers 4 years ago has that type of arm, but just
Right.
the off script plays. Like you remember that first touchdown where he like hit the Tebow jump pass.
He did. He did. Back to the Taysom Hill thing. Like you said, it gives me that type of vibe, but just not a full time guy. He's not the full time. Your full time quarterback. He's gonna throw you off in the game, but Sean Payton knows he can't rock with him. Six.
No, that's Jameis's job next year, man. I don't care what anybody says. That's Jameis is the guy there.
We hope.
Taysom. But anyways, man, what mattered to me? So, did you have any major takeaways from that game?
The Bills and Colts.
Yeah.
The Colts stood up. I didn't think they would get rolled, but I didn't think they would make it as competitive as it was. I knew the defense was going to go out and do its part. But Phillip Rivers, he kept him alive. You never know what Phillip Rivers you get. He's so 50-50, you know what I mean? He could have an MVP type game, or you just have one where he just wets the bed. But he's been there before, obviously. Future Hall of Famer, I'm sure. So like I said, I was really just surprised on the offensive side of the ball that he came out and kept him alive for as long as they did.
Yeah, man, and going for it on fourth down really, really hurt them because that turned into the 96-yard drive
True.
where right before halftime. And you're talking about the offense looking good, and you're talking about Philip Rivers, who we see cannot throw the ball 50 yards down the field anymore because that Hail Mary was, man, look, he was not hailing to Mary at all. He was going to hell. But you, do you think they're Carson Wentz or Matt Stafford away from being a serious contender?
um, I would say so. I would call their offense a plug and play. I put them in the same category as like the Raiders. I think the Raiders are really a plug and play. I know we're talking playoff teams here, but you just looking at
Mhm.
offense side of the ball, that's a quarterback away from really making some deep strides postseason. I think, yeah, I definitely think they're a quarterback away, like you said, a Matt Stafford type of guy, or
Um,
wait,
so you don't believe in Derek Carr?
I don't. I've seen enough of him. I know what I'm gonna get.
Yeah,
I'm not
he's
saying he's bad, but I'm not. I've had you before, so I want something new.
yeah, he's what we call him. He's like the '08 Charger with 200,000 miles on it.
Yeah, I mean, you ran your course. You get to point A to point B, but we're trying to go beyond it. We want to take long distance trips out the state. You know what I'm saying?
I'll tell you though, one thing that got me in this Bills Colts game was the Colts jumping off sides when they were obviously trying to get them to jump. It's like, come on, man, they're not running a play here. And the dropped interception. And it's like, man, back to back. Yeah, I had back to back plays where, hey, you don't jump off sides. They don't get this free play. You have an interception. Then the next play, Josh, again, being Josh, throws the interception and it just hits the ground. And man, that could be the game. And
Yeah,
and that's your 2 versus 7. So it's really showing us that this 7 seed thing is something. Like maybe the 17 playoff was not just a money grab. It's competitive teams playing against one another.
I think so too. It's not all about. I mean, obviously the records are going to be different. This isn't the NBA. This isn't. This is. We're all on the same level here. Season starts over. Whoever brings it, they're going to show up to play. As that's what happened in Pittsburgh. So you can't just go by the record. You know what I'm saying? You come play, stick to your plan, you execute it. You know, whatever happens, happens.
Look at my 4-win Falcons. We lost 7 games. We lost 7 1 possession games. That's the difference. We win those games. We're 11-win team, and not to make this about my Falcons, but it just shows you the difference between bad and good, or bad, even bad and great at times. Man, it's inches, not feet.
Right.
Let me see what else. Yo, why did the Dallas Cowboys let Cole Beasley go? Like he looks phenomenal.
I can't believe that's Cole Beasley. Like he's looking right.
Yeah,
They
like
weren't using him right. When you pick out Madden or like 2K, and I don't know, let's take Golden State from back in the day. You got KD, but KD's not getting off how KD's supposed to get off, and then your boy gets him, and he's just dropping 43 with ease, like before the half. They weren't using him right. That's what I'm starting to think. Like Garrett didn't know what he was doing with him. You know what I'm saying?
I'm starting to question that whole operation down there, and we'll get to it when we get to our coaching talk. So I don't really have anything else about this game. Let's get to old Tampa Bay, the Tampa Bay Gronkaneers versus the Washington Heinekens. I don't really have many. I forgot to take notes during this game. I don't know what happened, but I just think Washington had a terrible defensive game plan. You can't rush Tom Brady from the edges. Heineke earned himself $5 to $10 million a year by just running around and being athletic.
True.
And
Excuse me.
your boy Chase Young went barking down that Michigan tree.
He
And
did.
I think Brady beating Ohio State players in the playoffs is about as close to Michigan beating Ohio State as we're going to see in the near future.
I'll give you that one. Yeah. I mean, next subject. But no, I definitely think Ron Rivera was trying to rely on his defensive front solely. Like the only way you beat Tom Brady is getting to Tom Brady, but he wanted to do it. We get to Tom Brady without sacrificing the back end of your defense. putting that same trust he had in his front four, but it's Tom Brady. It's something about playoff Tom Brady. I'm not saying they're going to the Super Bowl. I'm not saying they're just clicking on all cylinders, but they're just gelling at the right time. And Tom Brady knows what time it is. He knows what to expect. He knows what's on the line, all of that. So I think a lot of that just comes with experience.
I've been wanting to hate Brady ever since 28-3. And I'm just watching how he's looking going into the playoffs. And I know he's played against some questionable defenses. And even last week he played against a good defense, but I don't necessarily like their scheme or their secondary. And he's starting to heat up. Like he's looking like Brady of 5 years ago. And that scares me. Like 7 rings, I don't want to see that.
Who does
Like what
outside
is
of Tampa Bay and Brady fans?
right? Like what is Skip Bayless and Colin Cowherd going to do for a week if Brady gets to 7? I might not watch Fox for a week. I might have to go back to ESPN.
Oh, that's saying a lot. That's saying a lot coming from you. That's saying a lot.
You know how I feel about that network over there. I'll take a job, but there's only a few shows that I like.
How literally few.
I'm you got me. Like your Keyshawn hate has me starting to watch Keyshawn and Jay Will, and I
It's not reverse psychology. It's really not all that great. But hey, if you find some peace in it, then by all means tune in.
I think because Keyshawn is so ignorant,
Is
and
he or is he just condescending?
he's that he talks like I get that you were a top pick, but he talks like he's a Hall of Famer.
Raul, yeah, I was just going to say that.
He has the same bravado as a Chris Carter, but not the resume.
You're right. It's the student in class pushing for the A but doesn't do the work. Well, I say he doesn't do the work, but he just talks like he just was a straight A student 4.0. But he was in the bag, macking on the girls, passing notes in class. He passed. Don't get me wrong, he passed. But
So he reminds me of what we used to call Morehouse N-words. And these were the people who were always in suits, active in all these clubs, busy doing all this stuff. But then they graduated with like 2.2s and no real prospect of doing anything post college. It was like, man, you were really good at college, dog. Except for the
what happened?
like he was going out of these meetings and stuff. He should have been in study hall. And I think that's what Keyshawn is. It's like you talk this talk, but no one talks about you. Like
You're not on anybody's top 4 right now.
he's not even on his mama's
Top
top
5, 10, yeah.
All right, so again, I didn't have much for that game because it was AB's looking good. Like he's looking like AB.
Yeah, he looks like he's on the same page with the quarterback. Absolutely.
And here's the weird thing about AB though, man, is I don't know what his statistical profile should be because what he did in Pittsburgh is not duplicable because y'all will throw the ball 50 times a game and will target AB 15 times.
Mm-hmm.
And what he's doing in Tampa is he's sharing the ball with way too many weapons, so he's not gonna be getting off, week in and week out. And I just wonder, like, what his true statistical profile looks like. Is he what 85, 90 catches a year, but he's still gonna get you 1,300 yards?
I think on the back end of his career, or maybe not even the back end, maybe just his Tampa Bay run, I think he's a viable X factor. Knowing what that, like what you just said, there's so many weapons, even in the backfield, the running game. Okay, when you get to the pass game, all right, AB's not the number one, but he's due for a play where it's gonna go. It might just be like a little 12-yard route, and he's gonna get some yards after catch. That could change the whole dynamic of the game. It could be a crucial first down, possession to put them in the red zone. You know what I'm saying? Like it's AB, he's still that guy. You know what I'm saying? It's just at any given moment. You know what I mean? And Tom Brady knows he doesn't have to force him the ball. It's gonna come when it comes. And I think that's the best part.
I'm happy that AB is shutting up the conservative football media. Don't get me wrong. I don't co-sign most of the stuff that AB did. I thought it was deplorable, disgusting. hey, bro, just get off of social media. If that's what you're doing, like work on it, work on yourself. Some of the allegations, like I'm throwing all that stuff out the window right now to talk about what he's been as a football player. And he's been at Tampa Bay, and it's back to Antonio Brown. You know, the guy that we didn't hear much from, just went out there and played hard. And for his sake, and so these old men will shut up, talking about stuff that doesn't matter. I'm happy that that's happening.
Right.
Because I used to like AB.
I still, I mean, obviously, me being a Steelers fan, it just rubbed me the wrong way he exited versus the Le'Veon approach. Like, it's not working for me. I'm leaving. Cool. You know, you left the door open if anything were to happen business wise. But AB just, it was a show for him. You know, it just really tainted everything that he had going in Pittsburgh and the next stop. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah,
fan perspective removed, I think, like you said, I think it's great that a lot of the doubters and critics, older critics, are kind of seeing like, okay, this guy can still play. He's playing his role. It's not a facade. Like he's really out there, probably putting the work in practice and is transitioning to the game. You know what I'm saying? So.
and that's what bothered me so much about some of the AB talk is like, bro, he was a 6th-round pick. He came in like as a punt returner. He really got it out the mud. Like he was not, he wasn't Mike Evans. He didn't show up 1st-round pick. Hey, you're the guy. No, he had to go in there and grind and compete against Emmanuel Sanders. Like, oh, I'm sorry, Emmanuel, bro. You can walk, bro. We don't need you no more because we got this young, hungry cat right here.
And then we kicked Mike Wallace out of town the year after that. So we really it just shows like his progression through the first 2-3 seasons. You know what I mean?
And what has Mike Wallace been since then?
A one-trick pony, injury prone one-trick pony.
You know, they talk about how well the Steelers draft receivers, but I think, don't get me wrong, Emmanuel Sanders was really good in Denver. But again, that was Peyton, Demarius Thomas, Julius Thomas. You know, they had a squad there. Was it Decker? Was Decker the wide receiver they had?
Yep, the slot. Yep.
So again, not to taking away from what Emmanuel Sanders is, he had a lot around him. But AB is showing that his transcendent talent is actually him, and he's not just a good receiver that was drafted by a team that knows how to get the most out of its receivers.
Right. He's not a quarterback dependent guy.
No, because he gets open. Jesus, I did not plan to go down the AB rabbit hole here. Let's get to the Rams and the Seahawks. So the Rams won 30-20, and I want to title this game here, Russ Can't Cook, man. He just can't cook. You give him the chance to cook, and sometimes it's all right, you know. Sometimes it's really good. But at the end of the day, it's just not good enough. And the idea that we need to let Russ cook. No, we do not. We don't need to let Russ cook. We need to allow Russ to be the complimentary quarterback that he is. On the high end, great complimentary quarterback. But puts me in the mind of your Paul Georges of the world. You know, damn good. Really, really good. Better than any other complimentary player, and is better than some primary players, if that makes any sense, right?
It does.
But in order to be maximized, he's a complimentary player. And what has Russ done without the Legion of Boom? In the playoffs? He
can't carry it by himself. He can't do it by himself.
And that's no knock on him, because who
can?
Like, who's carrying a franchise by themselves in the NFL?
Right. This isn't track. This isn't a solo sport. Get it.
But why was the Russ criticism so quiet this week?
Because that primetime game just, you know, the biggest disappointment.
Like, nobody really ripped Russ. I heard some criticism. Hell, he got his offensive coordinator fired.
Right.
For philosophical differences. Well, what's the philosophical differences? Russ wants to throw the ball more?
Let him cook, right? That's what you all say. Let him cook.
Right. Tyler Lockett saying we should run the ball more. Is he trying to get up out of town? What's the difference? I'm curious. But the thing about that game was their offense had no pulse or rhythm at all. Like none. And I want to say that it was the Rams' awesome defense because they are the number one defense in the league.
Right.
But how many times have we seen great quarterbacks carve up great defenses?
Right.
Russ had a pick six on a stop route.
Yeah. And it looked like it was his fault. There was no miscommunication or anything like that. From my understanding, I'm no coach, you know what I'm saying? But it looked like that was on him. You know what I mean?
It just looked like a great read on the defense because DK is mad because Jalen Ramsey told him, he's like, hey, bro, don't leave the locker room today. He didn't want to listen. And Jalen's like, bro, you just better off not leaving the locker room. Like, all of their production came on, in garbage time and broken plays, but no rhythm at all. I mean, but you're a Russ guy, don't you got his post?
I don't. We talking Westbrook now? I mean, I like Brody. I'm a big Brody guy. Yeah, Brody's cool. But we talking Russell Wilson? Oh no, that's your boy. You put me on. Try
Mr.
to.
Outstanding. What's his name?
That's relationship goals for you. You love his personal lifestyle.
Get the hell out of here, man. Ain't nobody trying to be like that Russ corny. Man, so day two, my favorite game. So my favorite game of the week was the Baltimore Titans game. And what I really liked about it was it took all these false narratives about Lamar Jackson. Oh, he doesn't play well from behind. Well, who plays well from behind? He's only been in the league. This is his third year in the league. He hasn't been behind enough for us to quantify this accurately. Like, okay, yeah. Right. There's some games where he was behind, he didn't come back. Sorry. But he's won 81% of his games?
With a sample size of 3. Like, we had 3 games to look at. And he's been in the league for how long? Like, yeah, so I'm with you.
And they started off slow. Offense was not looking good. He threw that god-awful interception. But I think after he broke that run and they roped off 17 unanswered, man, he just had his confidence. And kind of like Josh Allen at certain points in that Bills-Colts game, you could just tell that Lamar was cool and he was in control.
At all times, yeah.
Like, his passing numbers won't say that necessarily because, if you don't throw for 200 yards, people go crazy. But it's like, bro, he ran for 100. So
right.
You take his 136 and then 174 that he threw for it. I'm pulling these stats off the top of my head. That's over 300 yards. He's done his job.
And if you don't think that, what was that, like a 49, 50-yard run? You don't think that energized the defense getting back out there? You're crazy because the game definitely took a turn.
It did.
From a physical standpoint, psychological aspect, everything just, you just had that player, it just turns it on and it just revitalizes the whole team.
It does,
so I think you just hit a spark and they fed off of that.
Because I've been on a team that had an impotent offense, and every time you getting ready to go out there, it's like, dang, another drive. Can we get a break? Can y'all please not get a 3 and out?
Right.
I want to take my helmet off. I want to drink some water. I want to hear a couple cheers. Be aggressive. Like, y'all, goddamn, man. Soon I take my helmet off and go talk to my position coaches. Punt team. Dang, bro. We gotta go back here.
Can't catch a break.
So I loved it, man. And I really loved when he got that run towards the end, almost iced the game. And he was dot. Then he pointed at dog before he sat down.
Yeah.
Like, that's that swagger you want from him. You don't want Lamar trying to be stiff.
Or to feed into the media. You don't give the media what they want because that's what I feel like, me personally, I feel like that's what they want, the quiet guy. The guy who doesn't say much. The guy just goes in the huddle, calls a play, makes a play, and returns to the bench. Like, have some fun. You know what I'm saying? Like, the NFL wasn't fun like a year ago. It just started getting fun a year ago. Excuse me. Just be candid, be yourself. Don't let outside narratives play into your game or to what got you to the NFL. You know what I'm saying? So I think he's having fun. He's getting settled and he's being himself. And that's when he's most dangerous.
Yeah, he is, bro. Here's the problem with what you're saying, and I totally agree with it. The problem with the way a quarterback is supposed to act. They say, he's supposed to be face of the business. He's supposed to be, corporate. Why? Why do they say that? Because that's what's worked throughout history. Right. Why has that worked? Because they didn't let people like Lamar Jackson play quarterback. They go, oh, no, you're too fast to play quarterback. You got to go play running back. You got to go play receiver. You got to go play DB. But now they finally said, you know what? This stuff that works in Pop Warner Middle School, high school, college, it works here too. Yeah, no shit, it works. And Lamar is the face of that because Mike Vick tried it. But the problem with Mike Vick is he didn't get to maximize his skill set until he got to Philly. And that's after he had to, he had to replan, so he couldn't be Atlanta Mike Vick. And, Cam tried it for a little while to be, for lack of better words, man, a nigger.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of these quarterbacks are trying to be. They're just being themselves. And they want the quarterback to, oh, yes, we all played hard, it's a good team out there. And that's been the personality of quarterbacks. But that personality, to me, is not a reflection of your ability to be great. It's like your whole life, if you grow up never having filet mignon or never having a medium rare steak, you don't know how good it is because you never tried it. It's like, right. Oh man, that well done flank steak is amazing.
You don't know any better.
Yeah. You buy flank steak when you're feeding 10 people and they ain't putting in.
Right. I'm not choosing the rib over the slab. Like, come on now.
Right. And it's like, yes, this works, and it's been working forever. But when you can get something different, why not?
Right.
So I'm happy that Lamar is being Lamar. I'm happy that he has tattoos. I'm happy that he has braids and he wears his sunglasses and he talks shit. I love it.
Right. Dare to be different.
Huh?
I said dare to be different.
Yeah, everybody ain't got to be Russell Wilson.
Your boy.
28. Look, man, listen to this. I think Adam Gase is about to get Arthur Smith a job that he's not ready for.
Explain.
Because people think that Arthur Smith is this great offensive coordinator because of the turnaround in Ryan Tannehill's career. But I think that Ryan Tannehill has had back-to-back rushing champion and a great play-action game, and he got the just filth and stench of Adam Gase, who's only considered a good coach because he had Peyton in Denver and Peyton co-signed him. Well, oh my God, Peyton's not going to speak bad about his former coach because he was probably a good guy and they were drinking buddies. And we all of a sudden think Adam Gase can coach. And we think that Ryan Tannehill's a good quarterback and Arthur Smith is the reason for that. No.
So you're saying he's riding the coattails of the pieces he has in place to make what he has in place work.
Absolutely.
Makes sense. Right. Okay.
Yes. Derrick Henry ran for 2,000 yards. He almost broke Eric Dickerson from Steely Texas record.
He did.
Even though Baltimore was having none of that.
Because he did have one game where he ran for like under 50 yards. I don't know what game it was. But had he just been clicking how he was leading the league in rushes for 6-7 games.
Yeah, cooking. And we're going, oh yeah, Arthur Smith is really dialing up down there. Yeah, he dialing up. Henry, run. Henry stiff arm.
Right like that.
So, man, look at here. Let me tell you what. That Saints-Bears game, they should have just simulated that shit, man.
You said simulate. It was competitive for the first 10 minutes. I'll give him that.
Dog dropped the pass.
Oh yeah, that changed the whole momentum. In a sense, it was early, but it was enough to be like, okay, we're in it. Like, okay, we're ready to go back out there.
It changed the entire game because, for one, Money Mitch dropped back-to-back dimes. He had the one that Buddy caught on the sideline, the toe tap. It was like, oh, good play, Mitch. Then they run a trick play. Because again, Mitch is not going to 7-step dropping and drop a dime because he's terrible. And then Mitch drops the dime off the trick play. After that, where does Mitch's confidence go? Where does the defense's confidence go? Where does the O-lineman's confidence go? They go, Mitch has not thrown the ball this well all year. You think he's going to do it again after you dropped it and now his confidence is messed up? You know what would have made that a good game?
What's up?
If the best quarterback who was in the whole stadium was on the Bears, because he didn't even play. Jameis Winston was the best quarterback in the stadium.
Just being a spectator.
Hey, Bears, you didn't have to spend nothing on Jameis. You could have just brought him in there. Matt Nagy, you're an Andy Reid disciple. So we think you have some type of offensive sense. We think you do. And you're being hamstrung by bad quarterbacking. Bring in Jameis. Yeah, he's going to throw more picks in your life, but he's going to slang that thing.
And he got the defense to back him up, like we seen in Tampa. You know what I mean?
Jameis had he had 5,000 yards and 30 touchdowns. Yeah, I know he threw 30 picks, but he still had 5,000 yards and 30 touchdowns in the NFL. Come on now.
Yeah, I think it would still come down to decision making, like you said, and it's really a mirror image of what was in Tampa: decision making and the defense. Because when you're throwing that many, getting that many turnovers, the defense is going to be out there, getting worn out. And we've kind of seen that from the Bears. What were they saying? The worst 5-0 team in the league?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so.
Absolutely. And they beat Tampa Bay.
Right.
They beat the Falcons too, but who didn't? How did you feel about the Nickelodeon stuff?
That was stupid. I really didn't see it till either I seen it I had heard about it. And I was like, I know I didn't hear that correctly. So I went on about my business and I seen it. You had DM me the, like the little slide or whatever. And I was like, what the hell is this? Like, is this real? Like, I thought wherever I heard this was BS. You know what I'm saying? That was stupid. I could have done without it. What was the purpose of it?
To attract younger viewers, to get kids into sports?
No, to get kids into sports, you put your kids in sports. I don't need to see slime on the damn TV. You know,
bro.
I guess.
And I saw a lot of people in the media, they loved it. They were like, oh, yeah, this was great way to get kids into sports. I'm like, look, man, I grew up on Nickelodeon when they were actually sliming people, and you could go to Universal Studios and get slimed.
Right.
And that was fun and cool, but had nothing to do with my desire to watch and play sports. Like, I started playing sports, so I like to watch sports. And hell, I stopped watching Nickelodeon because I'd rather watch Sports Center. Don't give a damn about some slime time.
No, for real.
PTI around the horn. I'm trying to learn about sports.
Right.
Listen to Woody Page.
Yeah, I don't know who campaigned that, who came up with that, or who decided that was going to be a great idea, but I think it flopped. I like to see the numbers.
You know what? I missed something from the Baltimore Titans game, and it's a rant that I have to go on, man.
Get it in.
So Willie Snead IV, he got called for offensive pass interference on a pick play. And I see this all the time. Every week, damn near, there's a pick play where somebody is running a half-ass route, and we know that they're setting the pick.
Right.
Hey, bro, it's just like run blocking. If you're trying to run off your receiver because he's a man-to-man, if you trot your ass out there, he knows you're blocking. Right. He knows you're not running a route. Same thing with this pick play. The referee is knowing that you're running this little half-ass, this little slant stop. If you don't actually get in there, break down, look for the ball, do something, you can still make contact, set the screen,
right,
as if you're running the route, and then it looks like inadvertent contact. And you might actually make more of an impact on the defender because you're going to hit him with more force, and he may just take a second to think, oh, he might actually be running a real route. But no, you just want to run 75% speed, get in their way, You kind of turn around and put your hands up, bro. Come on, stop it. You
It
ain't
looked
being
too
no.
scripted. You gotta sell it. He didn't sell it. I know exactly what play you're talking about. He didn't sell
You know where they sell those pick plays at?
it. Where at?
In New England, they sell them.
Oh,
They sell
yeah.
'em.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't got a
You
choice.
you can talk about how bad those weapons are, but damn it, they are sound. They are fundamentally sound.
Mhm. What's that saying? No block, no rock. Like
Yeah.
that lives in New England. You know what I'm saying? So
Willie
you better
Snead,
watch the film.
Snead is not good enough. There's not a receiver on the Baltimore roster that is good enough to attract the attention of a defense that if you are not running your routes hard,
Don't
that they're going to
happen.
respect you.
Yep, I agree. I
All right,
agree.
man. Let me get back in order. Let's get to the Pittsburgh and Cleveland game.
Whew. Cue
So
the
how do you
funeral.
want to do this? Do you want to go ahead and just give your take on Pittsburgh, or do you want to go through the game a little bit first?
No, we go through the game.
All right.
We
So
go
Cleveland 48, Pittsburgh 37. Very deceptive score. Um, I mean, first play of the game, you got a fumble. Mr. Pouncey. Hey, bro,
That
you're
shit looked like the opening of a Michigan Ohio State game on a professional level. Like just that was so miscued and so jaw dropping. Like this can't be the game I've been waiting to see. Like it was just yeah. Go on. I'm sorry. That just
and then you got James Conner and Big Ben trying to play hot potato who's gonna jump on the ball. Cam Newton got demolished for being like, hey man, I, I have to make a business decision. I ain't
right,
gonna hurt.
right. I got the
And
envelope in the mail yesterday. Like I ain't touching that.
and then you got Ben and Connor just looking at each other. And I'm like, no one's down here. Y'all, it's not like you're diving into a pile from an awkward position. All you gotta do is just jump on the ball. And maybe it's second and 30. Or it's a safety, but it's not a touchdown.
Yeah, we were rattled after that. Like, we were shook. We were shook.
Yeah. And then, interception, 3 and out.
Which one?
But here's what got me, man. I showed you some of that back and forth I got into on Facebook with somebody in one of those sports group talking about Tom didn't have it prepared. You can tell from the first play of the game. I'm tired of people blaming poor execution by players on lack of preparation by coaches. At some point, it is the person who's getting paid the most money's job to go out there and execute what it is that they are taught to execute. Obviously, some coaches get better execution consistently out of their players. I'm tired of people treating Mike Tomlin like he's a bottom barrel coach. It's like, oh, he always comes up short in the playoffs every year. Yeah, but look how many of his teams overachieved to get there. Like that roster, again, y'all had an easy schedule. But y'all
On
were
paper, before the season, it wasn't easy because I was expecting the NFC East. I thought we were going to drop to Dallas and possibly Philly. You
right.
know, so they
But
weathered that in.
Ended up being a fairly easy schedule.
Right.
But y'all were closer to a 9-7, 10-6 team than was it 12-4 that y'all ended up at?
Yep.
Y'all were close to that, but I mean, look, you can only play who's on your schedule. But I'm tired of people saying, "Oh, like this dude really told me, see, Tomlin didn't have him ready because of that snap by Pouncey." Bro, Tomlin ain't have nothing to do with that.
It didn't. Because you snapped the ball how many times a game, how many times a season? You know, it's a routine thing.
Tomlin had nothing to do with that first pick that Ben threw that was piss poor. Tomlin had nothing to do with the drop passes that turned into picks. And then once you get down, and what was it, 28-0 at one point? Once you get down in the hole that deep, what kind of coaching can I do to get us out of this hole? Because I gotta scrap my script because maybe we're down 7-0, 10-0, or you know what I mean, 10-3. We can
I'll even give them 17-0. You can still stay on course with what we've been doing this season, which, you know, isn't saying too much, but 17, you can overcome that by staying the script up, trying to establish a run game and letting Ben attempt to air it out. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think Ben will air it out.
No, he let the air out. and that's when you put it on display. But we'll hit on that later, I'm sure.
Um, do you think there's a culture problem in Pittsburgh?
I don't think
Because
it's so much of a culture thing. Well, let me double back to the preparation thing. I get the narrative if it comes down to, when we used to always play Belichick and Brady mid or late of the season, and we were
that
just
shit
never prepped for them. I get that, but don't just come out and say after the season, "Oh, Tom was never prepped." That doesn't make. We wouldn't be. He wouldn't have the record he does not being prepped. He's never had a losing season. You know what I'm saying? I don't think any coach that just half-asses his job for his team has a winning season every time he steps out there. You know what I'm saying? So like you said, let's scrap that. But when it
so
came down to what's up,
so I was listening to Ryan Shazier last week on Ryan Russillo's podcast talking about the preparation and stuff against specifically Belichick because Russillo asked me, he was like, does Tomlin make adjustments? Because to our naked eye, we see that he just gets out coached by Bill every time and
right?
he doesn't adjust. And Shazier was like, no, Coach T makes adjustments. But the thing about what they do in New England is they know your tendency so well that they're prepared for your adjustments. So they adjust to your adjustments. And I go, this is why I like athletes on podcasts because now you get to tell me the stuff that my naked eye is not going to see, that your typical sportscaster's naked eye is not going to see. If you're not in that locker room, you're not in that huddle, you don't know that, hey, we got these 7 adjustments, but guess what? If you get out coached by Bill Belichick, that's like getting outran by Usain Bolt. No one's judging you or should judge you.
Right.
And are we really talking about culture if the Steelers win? Because in theory, Juju backs up what he said, and Claypool doesn't get the airtime to say the shit he said. You know what I'm saying? So it just seems
And,
like it's a lot of different narratives they're trying to throw on Tomlin as well as Ben, but centered around Tomlin following the law.
and honestly, man, I think Ben y'all's problem.
I do too.
So I mean, look, y'all got a new OC coming in. How do you feel about that?
Praise God. I'm excited. I've seen the candidates too, so I'm excited about that. So
How about
like I said, like what Colin said, that BB gun offense, it just wasn't working. And the only reason I feel like Randy was in that position to call any offensive plays was because Ben likes to be coddled to, and he had some authority in getting Todd Haley ran out of town, who's coaching at some small high school, which I think is bogus because I felt like he had the offense clicking. You know what I'm saying? So this was Ben's undoing. No one's gonna talk about that though.
I think that y'all should call Haley back and say, look here, Ben, he's coming back because you were your best with him. So that's pretty much all I got. Oh no, last thing. This could have all been eliminated if y'all just beat them in week 17 and they wouldn't even make the playoffs.
Yeah, we know. We know. Ben can go. Connor can go. We're trending in the right direction. Get rid of the OC. So I guess we're gonna start at the top, work our way down. So I'm assuming I'm gonna get some more breaking news that's gonna make me, be like, all right, we know we're on the right track. We're on the way to turnaround.
All right, so hit me with your Steelers stuff.
Oh, I got a lot. I got a lot. Let me go back to Ben and Connor.
Okay.
Ben, I like. Okay, he came back. I was happy with what I've seen, given his surgery, given his past careers, taking a beating. I get that, but dude, you're old. You get out what you put in. From what I've been hearing, you don't work out. So yeah, you're gonna be throwing 2 to 3 interceptions every 2 games. Your arm's gonna be a little raggedy in the late stretch of the season when it's cold, and you don't have a run game. Like back to Russell Wilson, you can't put the game on a quarterback's back. I don't care how good you are. You got to have some type of counter, which is the defense, and the defense can only do so much. You know what I'm saying? So I
Especially
don't
when you
like. I don't think it's a culture. It's an identity thing. We don't have that run game identity. And some things are so embedded into a franchise, it should be permanent. And defense and run game are those two permanent things, and we just didn't have the run game. So it just made us one dimensional.
So you don't like your Pro Bowl running back James Conner? Is what you're telling me?
No, he's a good Disney story, a good 30 for 30 story. But no, he's made out of China glass, man. Like, can't win with that. You're barely available. He's now. I don't even know if he's recovering from an injury. I think he's still trying to rebound from the loss of Le'Veon Bell. He's a good. He's a good. What do you call it?
Supplementary back?
He's a good complimentary back. Yeah, like that's at best because you're not even available to even change the pace of a game. You just can't. You can't structure any type of consistency with that, and then you factor in the O line coming in and out, and we're already an older O line. It's too many variables. So yeah, he's gotta go. He's gotta go. I like Benny Snell. He kind of reminds me of when Coleman had who was you all's running back when Coleman was stepping in for like the last 5-6 games.
When we
Who
had
got hurt? And he just Freeman, and he just didn't take advantage of that opportunity. Yeah, yep. And I was like, okay, this is Coleman's opportunity to show that he should be the lead back and get his contract stay in Atlanta. Nope, he didn't take advantage of that. Same thing with Benny Snell. I like him, but he didn't take advantage of that starting position where it's like, okay, I can command this backfield. At least until you guys find out or find a franchise guy or the guy that you want to go with. We couldn't even get that starting position type of workload from it. You know what I mean? Production, excuse me.
Draft Nige.
Say that again?
Draft Nige Harris.
He was looking like a back on Monday. He was looking like a real Steeler on Monday. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, get your first round running back.
They're a dime a dozen, but do people still say he's a generational running back talent? Like, is that something we see?
Rarely. We
haven't seen that since what? AP?
Well,
maybe Bush.
They haven't said it since Saquon, and I think that the funny thing is, CMC is a generational running back out of the. No. I'm sorry, wrong draft. CMC is a generational running back.
Oh yeah, okay.
Can I tell you, he got so disrespected coming out of the draft just because he was white. He had all.
I remember that.
He had all the Reggie Bush measurables, but nobody would make the Reggie Bush comp. I'm like, bro, he catches punts. He can line up in the slot. He can run routes.
Nobody wanted to say that.
He is Reggie Bush with a little bit more meat on his bones in a game that is not nearly as physical and as big as the game that Reggie Bush played in. But you don't want to call the white boy Reggie Bush.
Because nobody wanted him to come into the league and disappoint and had to backtrack those Reggie Bush comparisons. They were playing it safe. I kind of don't blame them. Because that's Reggie Bush we're talking about.
It's not like Reggie Bush was the world. He had a decent NFL career.
Well, I'm saying in college.
He was
decent at best. Oh yeah, decent. It was decent.
In college, he just went to Stanford and decided he cared about his education.
Right.
But back to your Steelers and the rebuild and how y'all gonna blow it up.
We need to. I like Bud, but his injury kind of puts us in a tough spot. What? Yeah, we got to come up off that. We got to come up off some money. I know, and I like him, but with that rookie playing in, stepping in, doing well, from a business standpoint, it might be like, well, we got this rookie. You know, he didn't do awful. He wasn't getting blown off the ball. Maybe we save some money and move off of Bud. But I like Bud. Him and TJ, I think they just need to stay together. They're a good cohesive unit.
Well, what's Ben's cap hit next year?
Jesus. 41. Shoot. Man.
Bro,
he's got enough to build Jolson another church.
Bro, that contract was so stupid. Like, and I remember when it happened, I go, oh, so y'all just gonna let AB and Le'Veon know Ben's the face of the franchise. Duh. You ain't gotta pay him all this money just because he says, I think I want to play some more.
Right. Damn what Tom Brady's doing. This ain't that. This ain't nowhere near that. We gotta look out for us. And Ben, you're not delivering. again, it could be another great Disney story on the back end, but I don't think he's going to get us over the hump.
Now he is the hump, and
And you give us a run game, we might. I'll put my money and say we're a plug and play offense with the run game.
yeah, y'all get a run game. Y'all can get ducked back there and win 10 games. I'm done.
But I more so just need the quarterback to be right for Tomlin's sake.
Yeah, I want Pittsburgh to work just because I want Tomlin to continue working. But hey, if Tomlin doesn't work, he will be hired before he even signs he even gets his firing in the email. It's like, okay, yeah, he has a job already. Anything else about
For
Pittsburgh?
sure, because I think the thing that
finish your point.
Just one more Tomlin appreciation. One more Tomlin appreciation quote. I think Tomlin works because I think anytime you can make a room full of grown ass rich niggas shut up and listen, that's saying a lot. Like you command the room, and I think a lot of players revolve around that.
Yeah, you got a Corvette, man. You get Juki to talk about his dancing ass. It changes things. Like, damn, shit. So I want to talk a little bit about coaching and stuff today, but as we record and breaking news came out, Urban to Jacksonville happened.
I seen that.
How do you feel about it? Big Ten guy?
And get his ass out the Big Ten. I don't care where he goes now. Have at it. Win a lot. But realistically, I think if he can, this is really hypothetical. Like if he can win 2 Lombardis and then have won some in at the college level, I'll damn near say he's the best coach like overall because Saban hasn't done it. Belichick hasn't done it. So doesn't that kind of just, because he already has a spot in the Hall of Fame of college, of coaching, you know what I mean?
And I think this is why he made the move, because he knows that there is nothing he can do at the college level to be elevated over Nick.
That he hasn't done.
Even though,
right.
Even though he's great against Saban, Saban's just so damn consistent, and there's nothing he can do to top Saban. And I think that's why he left last year. And when those rumors about him with Dallas, I think that was a thing, but he did not get. He was not going to get the control that he wanted because of Jerry Jones, which we all know that. So he stays in broadcasting, which is what he does. He always goes away for personal reasons or health reasons until he can find the job that he actually wants. He leaves, he gets there at the right time, he exits at the right time. And I think he's in Jacksonville for 5 years. I don't think he's a long-term coach there, but with the cap space that they have, and I think he can do what Pete Carroll did at Seattle because he just knows these players so well because he recruited them. He coached them, he scouted them, he's still so tied into what was going on at Ohio State, even as an analyst, and he's covered these players now. He's going to have a good 5 years of just knowing so much more than damn near everybody's scouting department, and that people are going to say, oh, shit, yeah, I'll go play for Urban. Like, yeah, Urban recruited me. Oh, I played for Urban. I'll come sign with Urban. That he has 5 years to win, but then once he goes 2-14 one time, he's out.
That's it. 2 questions for you though. Does he complete his 5-year contract or whatever? If it's 5 years, I didn't look at the ins and outs. Does he complete it?
The contract. I will not. I will have to see his contract, but I do not think. I don't think he gets a second. He finishes a second contract.
And my second question: do you think we'll get a watered down version of Sherman and Harbaugh beef if he doesn't go with Justin Fields? But I guess why would you? I'm not the media saying Justin Fields isn't this and isn't that when you have Trevor Lawrence right there. But given what he's about, you've been in that locker room. What do you think? Do you think that he would feel slighted if his old coach didn't, call his name?
I think that Justin Fields already feels slighted because he's been compared to Trevor Lawrence his entire career that we've cared about him just because they grew up close to each other. I don't know if you know this, but they had the same quarterback coach at some point in time when they were in high school. So
I just read that.
Yeah, they've been tied together for so long. And even Kirby said on the podcast this past week, Kirby Smart, coach at UGA, he talked about how Justin wanted to get on the field so bad his freshman year at Georgia just because of the success that Trevor was having. So Justin is coming to the league, especially after that nasty loss this past week. He's coming into the league with a chip on his shoulder.
Point blank. Yeah.
Look at me not answering your question.
So urban of you.
Hey, look, man, I got a media train myself. So another thing in the coaching thing that happened this week, that was so terrible. Another thing in the coaching thing. Another coach that got fired this week was Doug Peterson. And I think that the organization, they made the decision, is it Peterson or is it Wentz? And obviously Jeffrey Lurie, the guy who signs the checks, he picked the guy that he signed $100 million to. But the more and more I've dug into this, what I found interesting about the Eagles thing is that Doug Peterson wanted more control. Like the GM, whose name is slipping my mind right now, was just involved in everything and was controlling the roster and even had coaches answering to him. So Doug Peterson is like, I'm not even the real coach.
Laurie.
And I'm supposed to be a play caller, but he can't call plays for shit. But he could even coach his team.
Right. Right. And I think it's almost like a Chicago situation where you're too invested to say you got the pick wrong. You got the choice wrong, which I get it. That's a lot of money for you to just start over again. But I'd rather swallow my pride, start over than keep having piss poor seasons with your injury prone quarterback who's not progressing, you know?
Exactly.
It's still the NFL. You'll make it back, right? You turn it around, you'll make it back. And who's talking about Wentz?
Nobody. I think Doug Peterson's going to be fine, though. I think he'll get him a good job. And maybe
as a coordinator or OC? I mean, coordinator as a HC?
I think it'll be his choice. Look, the Eagles called Kellen Moore. Schefter reported that today. The Eagles called Kellen Moore for an interview. So if Kellen Moore gets a phone call, Kellen Moore barely calls plays. Kellen Moore is not a good offensive coordinator. His offense is nothing but empty stats. No wins at all. And they're talking about teams are cooling on Eric Bieniemy. Or I don't care what your reason for cooling on Eric Bieniemy is. If you're cooling on Eric Bieniemy and you're calling Kellen Moore, owner, fire everybody. If a firm told you to go look for Kellen Moore, I need a refund. If your GM wants to interview Kellen Moore and doesn't want Eric Bieniemy, fire him.
Just like that. No reason. I've heard enough. Get out of here.
Like, we're looking at Kellen Moore.
I get it. You got to go.
You're saying Kellen Moore, who has been under two offensive-minded head coaches who we want to give more credit for what they've done, right? We want to say Jason Garrett was really the one driving that offense, not Kellen Moore. Mike McCarthy was really driving that offense, not Kellen Moore. And they say the same thing about Bieniemy, that Andy Reid's driving that offense. But, man, look at the two offenses. If I'm going to pick somebody who's actually not driving the damn truck, I'm at least going to take the person who's driving the damn Lamborghini, not the person driving the beat-up Volvo.
You got a point. It makes sense. I hear you. I'm with you. It just seems like a bum job. Like, we're in panic mode, so this is what we're going with. Like, damn, like, this is the best you can come up with. I understand Bieniemy still coaching to get to the Super Bowl, but Kellen Moore, this is what you're rolling with?
Bro, that's the most bullshit excuse they have out there. Kyle Shanahan took a job after coordinating in the Super Bowl. I heard Keyshawn say this morning. Charlie Weiss and Romeo Cornell both left after a Super Bowl winning season. I don't want to hear that bullshit. If you want a guy, we're doing Zoom interviews now too. All you got to do is get an hour of his time. Hey, coach, can we blah, blah, blah. Yeah, and you set up the Zoom. Bieniemy done took like 7-8 interviews. So if you want the guy, you want the guy. But it goes back to, man, you can hang out with my son, but you can't date my daughter. You can be a part of this franchise. You can work for this franchise, but you can't leave this franchise. You can't become part of the family.
That's a good spin. I like that. I like that.
So we are
Like you're
3-7.
not good. You're good enough to associate yourself, but you can't
Yeah.
get in.
Well, yeah, you can't be part of the family. You can't be in the circle of trust. Sorry. Come on, man. Look, the goal was to make this an hour podcast, but we were talking, so who cares? Last things, let's just do a quick preview for this week. All I'm going to do is ask you your pick for each of the games and any key things that to look for. So first game, we got the early game Saturday, Rams versus Packers.
One weather team beat up quarterback going to Lambeau, arrested Aaron Rodgers and company. I don't think so. But you got Ramsey potentially taking out Devontae, so we'll see. It's not 50-50, but I'll say like 75% Green Bay.
I'm definitely rocking with Green Bay. And, you talked about Ramsey. I was listening to Greg Cosell today. I love that he comes on Cowherd because he gets to tell me smart stuff that I will never figure out. And he talked about how the Rams, they do play a lot of zone. They haven't been putting Ramsey in the slot as much. And Devontae Adams moves around a lot. So unless they change up their defensive scheme, which I don't think they will, there's not going to be as much Ramsey, Devontae Adams as it was DK Ramsey, because Devontae Adams can line up in the slot. He can move all over, whereas DK is just an outside receiver. But yeah, I got Packers, man. Aaron Donald's going to be not 100%. And you got who's playing quarterback for the Rams?
We don't
It doesn't
know.
matter who's playing quarterback for the Rams. They're going to get their ass kicked. Bro, how funny is it though that The Rock took his ad libs and his lines from Ed Orgeron? I really want to be in
That's funny. I didn't know that till yesterday.
Bro, I really want to be around Coach O. Now, even though he's a MAGA guy, I wouldn't mind being around him just to hear like the crazy wild shit that he says.
I bet he has some good stories, just of life, coaching, playing experience, everything.
Okay, so the next game we got Ravens Bills. What you thinking?
I'm a Steelers guy. I'm being biased, which is something you don't do in the media, but I'm going for the Bills. It's a great story. Why not? It just feels right. And they're at home. I'm not going to jump on the Josh Allen bandwagon like everybody else yet, but I think they're a more complete team. Lamar's gonna do Lamar things, make Lamar plays, but I think the overall aspects, defense, coaching, I like what the Bills are doing. And they're playing.
So I'm rocking with the Ravens. They were my pick. I got the Ravens going to the Super Bowl, by the way. So I got the Ravens for one because I want my picks to be right. But also I'm tired of the Lamar disrespect. I'm tired of people saying, "Oh, Josh Allen better than Lamar." Oh, excuse me, not the crackhead. Lamar Jackson. No, he's not. He does something better, definitely. But no, Lamar Jackson is an MVP. He's consistently been a good quarterback in this league. I think that defense for Baltimore is looking really good. The Bills, they can't stop the run at all. And Ravens are going to run it down your throat. They're like, hey, we're running.
Stop
it. And I don't think they can stop it. And that's just going to bleed the clock, and that's going to just go into Baltimore's hands. Sunday, we got Chiefs and Browns.
Well, the Browns are going to get shit on just by how much. That's what we really should be debating. Like, what's the point spread? Because we know who's coming out on top.
The spread is 10.
Let's make it 10 plus 7. I think they can get about 17 at least.
Is that your Steelers hate? Or are you Chase Claypooling right now? Or is that your...
No, this is common sense. No, this is really common. It might be competitive for a quarter. I feel like they can come out. The Chiefs they're good for starting off slow. We seen it last year, 24-0. And it was foot on the gas, no brakes, and it was over with. You know what I mean?
The Chiefs haven't covered in like 8 weeks, though.
It's playoffs.
I'm if I bet this weekend, I'm going to bet the Browns plus 10 just because it's 10 points. But I think right. The Chiefs are going to win the game. The line hasn't moved all week, which tells me the smart people are betting the Chiefs. So We'll see, man. And
That nerd.
the last game, we get the Battle of the Senior Citizens. Third time's the charm. Bucks and Saints.
I'm going with the Bucks because you know how the Saints do in the playoffs. And I don't care what division you are. We seen it last week. I don't want to play my division opponent 3 times. I just don't. I don't care if we swept them by 10, 15, 20 points each time. I don't want to see them a third time. They know your tendencies. They know what you're going to do. From the outside looking in, it seems easy, like, oh, we know what they have. We know what they're going to do. But at the same time, like, you don't know. They just might have something different. You know what I mean? So I'm going to say Bucks. This is the best Saints team we've seen since the Super Bowl, but I still think the Bucks are going to edge them out by like 6. I'll say 6. What's the point spread on that?
I don't have it up. I think it's close though. I think I don't remember. I got the Bucks. I think you just don't beat Tom Brady 3 times in the same season. Their offense is looking good. Drew Brees is anticipating every throw that he makes. If you beat the receiver to the spot, you can pick off Drew Brees. I think they're sweet. I think that defense is good, but I just don't trust the Saints in the playoffs anymore. They got that bad juju.
Right.
No Smith-Schuster, and I just don't trust Drew Brees. Honestly, like I've watched him. He's producing like a good running back, man. He's giving me 6 yards an attempt.
Yeah, and don't. I mean, forget beating the receivers down the field or beating the DBs. Those ribs are tender. So if you can get to Drew Brees and rough him up a little bit, get in his head, who knows how off course that game could go. You know what I mean? So
absolutely, man. But hey, thanks for coming on. I definitely want you to come back. We'll talk some more stuff. We'll talk some college football one of these days when I start back researching it and caring about it.
Absolutely.
You got anything else for us today, Nige?
Man, I appreciate you having me on.
Hey, man, thank you. Really enjoyed it, man. Hope y'all enjoyed this NFL hour, man. Big baby,